Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. I want to share this ad with you that Samsung just released a few weeks ago, and I want to thank a subscriber over on the website, A Warrior, who shared this with me. And again, everybody on the website, I want to thank everybody for being over there and for all the great stuff that everybody shares with one another, because it's nearly impossible for all of us to see everything that's happening at once. That's why we need to all point this out to one another and make people aware. And as most of you know, I've covered many times over the years the transition of the cell phone going underneath the skin. The mindset that people have is that that's a crazy notion, yet they don't realize that they've been conditioned with all of this wearable technology for the next phone to be inside of them. And the newest ad from Samsung is called You and AI as One. Not you and I as one, you and AI as one. And remember, a new world order is a one world order. Everything merges as one. One government, one religion, one language, one gender, one everything with artificial intelligence. You could even say that some of the conditioning going on right now with genders and what is a man, what is a woman, and all these other things that we've heard over the last couple of years is leading towards, once man and machine and technology is mixed, of course, being a new human race. And that is exactly what this is about. That's conditioning for a transhuman race. So if you haven't seen this commercial, let me play it for you when it comes to Samsung. And again, I covered back in February on a channel no longer around that Samsung was releasing ads then called The Next Big Thing Is You. And already, just 5 or 6 months later, they've already transitioned from marketing this as the next big thing is you to being the next big thing is you and AI as one. And you can see the transition going from the next big thing being you, right? Because they're saying the next cell phone, the next thing 6G is you, and people out there not picking up on the programming. And again, this goes back to Nokia even talking about this at the World Economic Forum, that 6G is going to be inside the body.
You will have such a good digital twin that you'll be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant.
Absolutely. And this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
So inside of you and AI as one. Here is the commercial. It's frightening to see just how much people can't figure out what's happening, where they even talk to you about these things like, well, with AI, well, they'll know how hot your refrigerator is. It'll know when you're asleep in the room to shut off the TV. And people just are more and more comfortable with their technology, not realizing what it actually is, and then allowing this, not just government control using artificial intelligence, which we all know about when it comes to the smart meters and the smart tech that they're trying to implement in your home so that you could put smart thermostats inside your home thinking that it's more convenient for you to control the thermostat via your phone. But really, what you're doing is giving the government, when they release the carbon footprint, the ability to shut on and off your air and your heat as they please, which they will do, which they're already doing. But look at this horror story that is AI and you as one.
Life. It gets messy. There's ups and downs. Round and round. Chaos. And calm. It's going to be brilliant. Just like it's supposed to be. Because with AI, at least the washer knows what it's washing. The fridge remembers what's in it. The vacuum cleans when you ask it to. The oven can tell what you're cooking. The TV shows you the moments that matter. And the pictures are perfect. We're ready for all of it.
So that right there, you would think would wake people up to the frightening reality of what's coming in the future with artificial intelligence. But it doesn't. It doesn't, because most people see that and they think to themselves it's just another transition with the phone. And the more desensitized people become to the technology and the more time that goes by, which is why they've released all of this stuff like the iFit, the Fitbit, all of this tech that you wear on your body. That's why they've been doing it little by little over the years to get people accustomed to that type of tech. And then, of course, we talk about the technology, not just being under the skin, but the biometric surveillance that is this technology. And people go, what is biometric surveillance, right? Well, you remember during the outbreak that they obviously created and planned, that people like Yuval Harari and these world leaders were talking about how the outbreak was critical because they needed it so that they could convince people that we needed biometric surveillance. And most people, this goes right over their head. They're like, what is biometric surveillance? Well, for the dumbed down person out there, it's very similar to what you were doing when you were social distancing and you were allowing apps on your phone to track where you were going and how close you were to other people. But the difference between that and what's coming is that you won't need the phone, because this will be embedded inside your body, underneath your skin. Remember some of these clips of Yuval Harari talking about under the skin, including being on Russell Brand, the truther Russell Brand, who's keeping you distracted with the stage theatrics. He is an actor, by the way, that is going on with politics, with Donald Trump, with Biden. He's obviously luring in conspiracy theorists by tickling their ears with that stuff. But of course, he's best buddies with Yuval, and his show is even called Under the Skin, but nobody figures out what's actually happening because they're too distracted by the theatrics that are going on around them. Here's just a compilation of clips of them talking about Under the Skin.
Yuval, thank you so much for joining me on Under the Skin.
Yeah, it's good to be here again.
When surveillance goes really under the skin,
we need to monitor what's happening under the skin.
Surveillance technologies.
Surveillance going under our skin, especially surveillance under the skin. We don't know hackable animals under the skin. We don't know hackable animals under the skin. We don't know hackable animals under the skin.
So under the skin, that's exactly what that commercial is showing you. Right? But people aren't realizing it yet. They aren't realizing that when they're saying you and AI becoming one, for the time being, most people will see that and they'll say, well, that commercial didn't show those people as transhuman. They still had a phone in their hand. Right. And then a year from now, 2 years from now, this whole notion of AI becoming one with AI, they start releasing stuff about how even more convenient it could be to have the technology inside of you instead of just in your hand or on your wrist, right? Or on your eyes with the lenses and all the other stuff that I've covered over the years that they've released. That's what this is about, getting under the skin. You might remember the scene from The Matrix. Most people forget in The Matrix, they think about the overall theme of The Matrix and some of the stuff in The Matrix, the scenes that are popular in The Matrix. They seem to forget about that whole notion of turning you into a battery.
Matrix. Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
Right? Because that's what this is really about. It's about getting the technology inside of you. So that commercial, you and AI as one, is how they're going to start marketing this stuff. And really, marketing is the tool of the devil. Because what it is in a sense, it's mind control. People who think of marketing, they're like, oh, they market this, so that people go and buy their product. They market to deceive you into accepting the types of things they want you to accept. And we've gotten to a point now where, like I've mentioned so many times, where over time you've watched the transition with technology and humans, right? When the cell phone first came out in the 90s, it was the phone in the car, right? They already had this technology created. It was just a matter of how do we seamlessly transition these people to a point where they'll put this inside of their body and essentially take the mark of the beast. Well, we have to start slow, right? Here's the phone in the car, the Zach Morris phone, right? Then it's the flip phone. When that came out in the late 90s, the majority of people did not want a cell phone because the majority of people were going, what do I need this for? And a lot of parents were giving it to their kids because they wanted to be able to call them, make sure they were home by curfew. And now, 20 years after that, we're at a point where if you leave your home without your phone, you're lost, you're confused. You would turn around if you were driving from New York to the Grand Canyon and you were an hour away and you realized you didn't have your phone, you'd turn around and go get it. Now, that would never really happen because most people are so obsessed with their technology, by the time they hit, well, the turnpike or wherever they were headed in New York City, the George Washington Bridge, they'd already realized they didn't have their phone. In fact, most people wouldn't even be able to pull out of their garage or their parking spot without realizing they don't have their phone because it's the first thing they check. More people would check, who are parents, to make sure that they have their phone before they would even check to see if they have their kids in the car with them. If they were going somewhere, even bringing their kids to school, the parent would be more likely to make sure their phone was on them. So you can't say that the transition and the obsession and dependency on technology isn't leading to you and AI becoming one. And of course, this is what I've been talking about for a long time. You're seeing it unfold in front of you. And the majority of sheeple out there will see stuff like this. They'll see this video and they'll roll their eyes and they'll say, that's not what that is. Oh, that's you're being over dramatic, right? Or, oh, that's not real. It's just, because that's what all of this time that goes in between and this integration of technology and how they market it to you, that's what it does to them. They don't think it is what it actually is because the marketing works on them when it comes to convenience. Oh, it's convenient, right? And these are all things that no human being needs. No human being even needs the internet. No human being should be dependent on these things, but this is how they've gained control over the masses, through technology. And now everybody is a slave to this technology, which is a saying a lot of people have heard many times over, and they still don't grasp what it actually means. Well, with this type of technology, you're literally not even going to be a human being anymore because you and AI are going to mix and merge as one. It's a scary future. I want to thank once again a warrior for sharing this over on the website. There's a lot of warriors over there who are sharing truth. I appreciate everybody who's over there on uprisinglives.com. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families, as always.